Tatsumaki! Zoro has the right idea because Tatsumaki is absolutely insane. Over the past few years, she has taken the fandom by storm for a host of reasons. Epic, wholesome, tots,
lovely,
which you can argue are also wholesome as well in some cases here. But the fact of the matter is that her stock trajectory, for the most part, is up, and it's absolutely well deserved. But this does not mean it's going to be all rainbows and sunshine moving forward, because a stock, while going up, can have those occasional dips. So there are some meaty things circling Tatsumaki.
Oh my.
And these things, I think, have to be addressed on two fronts. So first and foremost, right now, it's very likely that the final villain of the series is God, the big G-O-D. And recently, we're even seeing God play somewhat of a role in minor and subtle ways in the current arc. Like we have the flashback in 176. Fubuki makes the plunge, trying to figure out the source of what changed Psychos' mind from when she knew her back in high school and diving into her mind. And then seeing God in her mind. Or chapter 173, where Genos Company have a whole conversation about God with Sekingar and Sitch. And then, of course, we have the mysterious Tsukuyomi psychic group, and they're making their play on Psychos. That name, Tsukuyomi, if you've watched Naruto, you know the deal. And we all know what God did in chapter 153. Massive Giga Chad play. You have to respect it. But from chapter 164 onwards, we saw just how powerful someone like Garo became when he just grazed the power of God. The level of the One Punch Man world catapults to a whole new stage at that point in time. However, we need to remember that even though Garo was clearly an outstanding choice for God to give his powers to make, let's say, Cosmic Fear apostle, right?
Right.
There was someone before Garo that God had his eyes on that you could argue would have been just as good, perhaps better than Garo, and that person, of course, was Tatsumaki. We see that full bore in 156. Now, even though Tatsumaki does successfully fight back against God's persuasions, there is a damn good reason why God had his eyes on Tatsumaki in the first place. And it wasn't just for Tat's reasons.
Ooh.
Consider the fact that in the last arc, Psychos got a major power-up from God itself, had enough psychic technical skill to corrupt Tatsumaki's own barrier in 128, and that internal pressure almost killed Tatsumaki, had attack so devastating, that she could slice off a part of the planet in 132, but still was weaker than Tatsumaki overall. Just remember the snowball effect that was Tatsumaki's greatness. For the first time we see her fight all out in the series, she really felt unstoppable.
That's right.
She's taking 300 times normal gravity in 111 like it's a walk in the park. She raised the entire Monster Association hideout in chapter 130. That very same attack that Psychos used to slice off a section of the planet temporarily, Tatsumaki took that, Tatsumaki took that. Following up on that, in the next chapter, she levitates a swarm of mountain-like rocks that she sends hurling Psychos' way. In the same chapter, tricking Psychos and then going inside of Psychos to do massive damage from the inside out. Then in the next chapter, twisting the entirety of Z City and then making a barrier around the entirety of Z City to prevent Psychos from leaving that area. And then finally making that massive drill in 138 to kill Monster Lord Orochi. Tatsumaki was jaw-dropping. Yes, sir! Epic on all fronts. Tatsumaki was doing the Batman climb in the third movie out of the pit, and the detractors could do nothing about it. And just realizing, based on chapter 133, that for most of that whole section of the fight, she couldn't even go all out.
Crazy.
She wasn't even at max power until the other heroes were safely retrieved from the Monster Association hideout. So how would the fight have gone against Goddess Psychos if Tatsumaki was able to fight at full power off the rip? Yo, where's my towel? Yeah, yo.
Deep breath, deep breath, deep breath, deep breath.
That, my friends, is a very, very scary thought, because Tatsumaki is just that devastating when she, for a large part during that fight, couldn't go full power. So we do have a pretty clear understanding as to why God would have someone like Tatsumaki in his sights, just giving these crazy moments against an individual that he himself powered up, among other things. However, the big thing here, Tatsumaki is not perfect. In fact, she's very, very, very far from. She is quite a flawed individual, and flaws can be exploited.
Wake up.
So, Fubuki mentions a curse that Blast placed on Tatsumaki's heart in chapter 143. And of course, it's the concept of, if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. The thing that she learned from Blast in 137, that flashback, where, and I quote, "When the time comes, don't go expecting someone to come save you."
Damn.
Because of those words and her experiences as a child, where her father and mother apparently sold her off, Tatsumaki has massive trust issues. And these trust issues are seeping into other aspects of her life, and they feed into her isolationism.
Oh.
Ooh, big word. They feed into her ideals of being isolated, and it only strengthens the burden of expectation placed on her, since in 123, it's actually stated that the Hero Association, they view her, not Blast, her, as their final weapon, the last resort. The nuke button is, in the world of One Punch Man, Tatsumaki. So she is not allowed to fail, because if she does fail, the end result will be catastrophic for humanity. This is a weak spot, a hole if you would, in the armor that comprises of Tatsumaki's, let's say, being. Naturally, we learn and grow from our failures, but Tatsumaki, in most cases, is not afforded that luxury. Alongside another hole, which of course is Fubuki, the sister that she cares very deeply for. So much so that she will go out of her way through hell and high water to make sure that Fubuki is safe, which does make sense, but obviously a weak point that can be exploited. Recently, in chapter 177, we see this full bore, and Tatsumaki sinks even deeper into her views of isolationism and distrust because of a major goof on the part of Fubuki's Blizzard group. Since there was a traitor amongst their ranks, slid in a pill into her morning routine, Cosby style.
Haven't you ever noticed after people have some of my barbecue sauce, after a while when it kicks in they get all huggy-buggy?
Major, massive goof. So in Tatsumaki's mind, she believes, yeah, I was spot on. I've been saying this for years and years and years and years, and Fubuki, you haven't listened to me. In the updated translations of 177, she notes how specifically the Blizzard group is one of Fubuki's weak points. And it is the very thing that Fubuki, you can argue, takes pride in the most. We saw in the last arc several times Fubuki actively seeking to be a good leader and actively trying to recruit guys like Bang and Bomb into the quote new Fubuki group. The sisters are of course at odds with one another, but right now you could argue it's pretty clear who's in the right.
Okay.
It's the one that Saitama is defending. I would say this. Imagine if Tatsumaki was similar to Fubuki, a genuine leader for the rest of, let's say, the S-class heroes, a Superman, Superwoman of the S-class heroes. If she could bring these guys in order, that whole group would be so much more effective. When that last arc started off, they barely got on together. Come the end of that arc, we saw them start to function properly as a unit. One of the key focal points of this was Genos. Genos coming in there and assisting Tatsumaki. Even though she protested, he didn't care because Genos is the disciple of Saitama. He has the ideals of a true hero. And from there, it starts to snowball up until 138, where we see them like combo in so many damn good ways in that one chapter. If that's how they were at the beginning of the arc,
I know, we should all just let bygones be bygones, but that ain't the way it's gonna be.
But again, at the beginning of the arc, it's very, very, very far from. Matter of fact, even Tatsumaki is one of the cornerstone reasons why it's the case, because we see in chapter 94, what is she doing? She is pushing away the people that she should be working hand in hand with. And we've also seen the reverse side of things, where Fubuki's leadership has come in clutch during that same arc. When she first met Saitama, she was so determined on forcing her beliefs and ideals on other people, trying to force other B-rank heroes to join her Blizzard group. But post Saitama, we're starting to see her change over the course of time in very positive ways. And she was able to actually showcase new things, like heal/restore people to their normal states, where we see her control the flow of energy within people like Genos in 142, or save Tank Top Master in 146. So she has absolutely gotten much stronger in a lot of, I think, very important ways, and Tatsumaki back then, in the heat of the battle, she did acknowledge that. However, right now, Tatsumaki is trying to hurt other heroes, and no, that just cannot fly under Saitama's watch. So Saitama versus Tatsumaki right now appears to be on the horizon. I think at some point soon, 178 is going to drop. But as of this video's recording, it hasn't dropped just yet. However, I'm going to use the term versus loosely because it's pretty clear that given Saitama's own words, he probably won't attack Tatsumaki. But Tatsumaki will probably attack Saitama.
Hell no, man.
Which actually only goes to show you how far off she is, Tatsumaki is, from being a, quote, ideal, true hero. You can even argue that Fubuki has made more strides to being an ideal hero, even compared to Tatsumaki. The same threat that Tatsumaki makes to Fubuki's group about hurting them so bad that they can't work as heroes anymore is the same thing that Fubuki told Saitama when they first met. And whereas Fubuki has improved from that mindset way back when, Tatsumaki has yet to start that journey. And again, this is the sign of the flawed character that she is. She is ultimately dead wrong in the grand scheme of things.
Correct, sir.
When it comes to the situation with Saitama and Tatsumaki, but in a general sense, you know he's not done. You know, and I know he's not done. Ooh. The big G-O-D. He has a very big eye in the sky, and I'm pretty sure God is not going to let up on Tatsumaki. And the God themes are seemingly in the manga going to be consistent for like the entirety, you can argue, of the manga moving forward. So over the course of the series, Tatsumaki will likely change and grow as a character because her ideals are going to be broken down and then rebuilt, you can say. In those time frames, mentally, she will be very likely, at these point in times, more vulnerable. Unlike Fubuki, who's had that sort of cushion with her group, Tatsumaki is effectively alone, and she's already so high on the totem pole. As they say, the higher you rise, the faster you fall. And if she ever is mentally vulnerable, then she is susceptible to the machinations, the influences of God. Especially if there is a major falling out between herself and Fubuki, and or she feels that she has failed at protecting the person, again, most important to her, Fubuki. And if we do ever get to that point, some really scary business when you think about Tatsumaki starting to run wild under the puppet strings of the big G.O.D. Because it could be a cosmic sort of running wild. Oh,
That's no good.
But at the end of the day,
but ultimately, as they say, it is darkest before the dawn. And I think in this situation here, it's going to be a great moment for both Tatsumaki and Fubuki when we see Fubuki's words be fulfilled. The words that she stated in 143, that she won't leave her sister by herself. She will save her sister in a way that she cannot do herself, because Fubuki is also a hero. So on that note, your boy is done. If you don't know, now you know. I do live stream reactions to One Punch Man on my Cold Requiem read-through channel, link in the box below. And also, on your way out, make sure to hit your boy up with that like, with that subscription, and click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm looking forward to seeing more Tatsumaki greatness, some more Tots greatness in the near future, without a doubt.